Yes, it says it's preparing to go live. All right. We are live and it is 6 p.m. Good evening, everyone. Good evening once again, and welcome to SATYAVACHAN Live Talks. My second guest under SATYAVACHAN Live Talk is DTM, that's Distinguished Toastmaster Lancy D'souza, a leader who has many different talents in all kinds of fields and subject areas. He's served as an airport manager for 20 years with Emirates Airline, Saudi Arabia. Lancy has also been associated with Toastmasters for the last 25 years and has mentored several clubs and schools in Saudi Arabia. As a keynote speaker, motivational speaker, and a grow more coach, he has positively influenced lives of many people. He gets his energy from people and loves to help them become a better version of themselves. Well, a man of honor will make you feel comfortable and push you to do your best. I can vouch for that because I'm one of his privileged mentees, if I can say that. Public speaking is his forte and a tool he uses to master his craft as a speaker. He's also one of the most preferred master of ceremonies at events and conferences. His motto in life is never trust your fears. They don't know your strength. Wow, I love this statement. And we'll get you to talk about it at length, Lancy.
Yeah.
So welcome to SATYAVACHAN Talks once again, Lancy. And before I get started, there's something that I want to talk about. So, you know, I've always seen you calm and composed. And I've also heard stories about your ability to solve problems creatively. So when I was working on this topic about staying calm under pressure, you were obviously my first choice to address this topic. And while we are live, I would also want to now perhaps stop talking and allow you to take the spotlight. I can see a few people who've joined us. So yeah, over to you, Lancy, before I begin with my questions.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wonderful people. I'm glad to be here. I'm privileged and, of course, honored by the recognition, Akshay. All right, so shoot out. Let's get on the show.
Yeah. All right. So DTM Lancy, you've got you know, this magnetic personality. So how did you get about building your personal brand?
It's interesting. I think there's always a calling moment, Akshay, in your life that happens in there. So for me, I believe the personal brand was actually influenced by Mrs. Ansari. This was in Saudi Arabia. She happens to be the resident professor at the King Fahad University of Petroleum and Minerals. Now, really influential, and she was invited along with me as a judge at the Indian Embassy School. Now, Akshay, understand that the Indian Embassy School in Saudi Arabia has got 22,000 students under one roof. Enormous, amazing, right? Okay, so it's girls and boys. So that particular Sunday afternoon, we were called. There were 3 judges, and Mrs. Ansari happened to be one of the judges, and me. Now, we had 12 students in here, 6 girls and 6 boys. What was our role for the 3 judges? We had to shortlist 3 girls and 3 boys for the finals, the Pan Saudi Arabia debate contest. Now, once they had finished off, we were introduced and we were asked to give our take on stage of the performances of these 12 students.
Right.
Mrs. Ansari did that, her regular one. When it was my turn, I did something that was in Toastmasters. It's called giving instant feedback.
Okay.
And I did that feedback for all the 12 students. When I came back, Mrs. Ansari, she says, I've never ever heard this before. I mean, I've been a judge at this Indian Embassy School for the last 7 years.
Right.
But we've never, ever, ever done this evaluation. How did you do that? I said, well, that's the tenet of Toastmasters, and that's what we learn. Instant feedback.
Right.
She touched my arm and she said, Lancy, you're blessed. Now, when she said that, that was a defining moment for me, because when does anybody ever tell you you're blessed? I said, thank you very much. She says, no, that's not enough. You need to do, because you can do service. You've given hope to 12 students and their parents and the entire educational fraternity with what you have done in there, and being blessed. This is a great opportunity for you. That was the time, Akshay, that was a defining moment for me. It's your calling in life. And I knew there and then that that's what we can do in public speaking. We can pass on our skills and techniques, give hope, and spread the wings of the younger generation. And that's how I built my brand.
Absolutely.
It starts off with 3 things: performance, image, and exposure. The rest is history.
Wow. Performance, image, and what was the
Exposure.
third thing? Exposure. Right. And I think this is what happens when you try and help people selflessly, right? And that happens to be your defining moment. Excellent. Right. And now talking about public speaking. There's so much pressure associated with this word, and I can completely feel it. So how did you overcome your fear of public speaking? I mean, and how did Toastmasters happen to you?
And I owe that to a Toastmaster. Her name is Mrs. Christine Pereira. We were at this particular party, and she was sitting at the side of me. When we were introduced, she said, what do you do for a living? And I said, Christine, I am the airport services manager, and I run a station in Dammam, that's Saudi Arabia. She said, oh, you're the right candidate for Toastmasters. I said, what's Toastmasters? It's something to do with raising a toast. She says, maybe that's your perception. Fine, but you come in and check with it. And I said, okay, so what's in it for me? It's always what's in it for me, right, Christine? And she says, you know what? You're an airport services manager. Our mantra in Toastmasters is communication and leadership skills. I bet you join the organization, you're going to pick up the skills and techniques, and then you will understand the whole part of body language. And I'm sure it's going to help you out dealing with your customers. Forget that, but also with all the officials at the airport and the rest of the planet. When I did that, that's how Toastmasters came in my life. And that is where my calling came in. And then I knew I had struck gold. Communication and leadership skills, I bet the last rupee or the dollar. Once you get into that act, it's never coming back. You just keep on progressing and progressing. So that's how Toastmasters happened in my life.
Absolutely. And I think that was something that perhaps comes to you naturally, right? I think public speaking, it's there.
I believe, just to interrupt, it's actually an extension, Aki. It's an extension of every person on this planet. It's how you develop it and how you understand it, and then you use that to your advantage and you capitalize it. That's the eventual goal. And I guess that's where it comes in. The passion and the rest follows.
Absolutely. It's passion. Yes, you've got the right word for that. Because I joined Toastmasters out of my fear of public speaking, right? And when that one moment of applying for TED Talk, I got that opportunity. I prayed to God that they reject my entry, and of course they rejected it. But then I was like, no, I think it's time for me to overcome that fear, and that's how Toastmasters happened. Right? Excellent.
And you're doing famously well. Ladies and
you.
Gentlemen, yes, we've got Aki. I mean, that's what we call him fondly, but he's really grabbed the ropes.
No, thanks to you as my mentor. All right. So what is your idea of having fun in life or at work? The reason I'm asking this question is basically most of the times when we get stressed, when we are so bogged down with work, we forget to have fun in life and at work. So what's your idea, and why do you think that we need to have fun at work?
I believe we can take a cue from Ralph Smedley, Sir Ralph Smedley, the founder of Toastmasters International. Of course, we've got a whole lot of organizations, but the reason why I'm saying this is because I can quote him ad verbatim. He says, the best moments of learning are in times of enjoyment. And I think he had paid dirt, because anything that's broken up into a part of education and then mixed with a heady magic of entertainment, it works.
Right.
And that is why your lighter moments come in. And seriously, Buddha himself has said, please do not take yourself seriously because nobody else does. So for all those people who think that by being serious is you're going to overcome people and capitalize on your charm, you might need to take a header from Buddha and learn to stress back, to stress down, as we say, de-stress yourself in there and enjoy life. And these moments are the one thing that helps people get onto your side. And when you are enjoying yourself, people mirror you and they automatically fall into that bracket of replicating yourself, and they also enjoy. And at the end of it, I believe that's what gets people with a meaningful dialogue. So,
absolutely.
Fun. Please, whatever you do, it's not easy, let me tell you, but it takes time. And once you do that, you find it's rewarding in more ways than one.
Correct. Absolutely. So my takeaway from this question is that you need to stop taking your life seriously, but it doesn't mean that you're being casual about it. It's just that you are focusing on one thing at a time, and you're enjoying whatever that you're doing. Right?
Yeah. So just a very quickly thing. So we call it balance. So you balance education with entertainment. It's a headache magic.
Correct.
Okay. And the marriage that works in there is to your advantage. And that metamorphosis that comes in your life, you find yourself lighting up so much, and people actually love you at that point of time. Try it out. It works.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I think I would definitely request you to try that out. And it definitely works. I remember, I think, for my second speech, I was really nervous, and Lancy just said that, just forget everything, just go up there and just have fun, just enjoy. And I think that's what I did. So yeah, absolutely. All right. So talking of stress, right? So stress, we all know, creates disharmony in our mind and gives rise to stressful emotions. So how have you been managing stress? We would definitely love for you to share 3 powerful tips that will help us manage our stress better.
Okay, I must tell you that working under pressure as an airport services manager is absolutely going through the whole 9 yards. It's never easy. People on the other side of the fence think that, oh, you're just handling customers. It works much more than that. Imagine if you've got a flight, and I had a flight of delay that was of 44 hours because of a bird strike, and we had an engine that broke down, absolutely went into, and we had to fix that up, the entire thing. It took 44 hours. We've got passengers, we've got immigration, we've got security, we've got customs, we've got everybody breathing down your neck. I mean, at that point of time, the stress keeps on, and it is the whole 9 yards. It keeps building up. One of the things that we did is we took in turns. My team and myself, we took in turns of having like 3 hours a break in between those 44 hours. And there was a reason why it is. So for those 3 hours, right, I can catch up on my sleep, or I can de-stress myself, come back again and relieve someone else. So it isn't that one single person takes the entire 44 hours. It's breakdown. And in doing so, it's so much easier to manage that particular stressful situation. And that's how we did that in there for those 44 hours. But that is something, ladies and gentlemen, you can beg, borrow, and steal, but you cannot get an experience like this unless it's on the job. And once you've done that, you can realize that your inner strength is so much, you would never even know that in a time of crisis, your inner strength comes to the fore. And then you know your capability. So for me, your second part of it, that you asked for 3 of those tips in there are. But the one thing that I have learned is that take care of yourself. I mean, personally, I do 45 minutes of yoga every day, followed by an hour. I take a break of about like 3 hours, and then I take 1 hour and I hit the gym and do a workout for 1 hour. So that's how we get in there. Right. Number 2, and I've learned this through my life, Aki, is that recognize when you need more help. And seriously, people, because we've got this ego problem, we do not ask for help. And people do not know until you need help and you ask them, even if it's with a begging bowl. I took a few years ago is when we had Amitabh Bachchan, who was down and out with flops. And he had his AGCL that was liquidated, right? And he was in doldrums. For months, he was without a job. And I think Jai told him, he says, Abhi, what are you doing? Sorry, you've got Yash Chopra on the opposite side, right? Staying in there. Go and ask him for a job. And he did that. He went in and asked for a job. And he said this when he won the supporting actor award at Mohabbatein, at the Filmfare Award. He brought this up on stage. He said, Jaya asked me to take a job. And she said, don't sit at home, go and ask Yash Chopra. He gave me Mohabbatein, and I did. I asked him, sir, give it to me. So I have recognized that managing stress in there is to ask for help. It works wonders. And it's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. When you say, excuse me, but can you help me, Aki? I need this. And I think we've done this here when I wanted some help on the laptop. The first thing I did was I would pick up the call and say, Aki, I need your help. Right. It wasn't running around the bush straight away. I need this. Can you educate me on that one? So that was something that we happened to manage stress. Why take it yourself? You've got a whole lot of people, build up relationships and ask them. Nothing wrong about it, right? And the third one is make time to unwind. As I said, when we took those 3 hours of catching up breath, every time we take a back seat, we strategize ourselves and we recharge our batteries. Right. So for me, make time to rewind is I recharge my batteries. I watch something that I love, Netflix movies or the whole works in there, listen to music at the background. Okay, go for long walks, pick up a phone and make a conversation as opposed to sitting onto that virtual world. These connections are important. And seriously, when you've got a problem and you just call up a good friend and say like, hey, listen, Balu, Aki, Rahul, whoever your friend is, I've got a problem in here. See, I need to sound myself. Just listen to me. And what's your take on this, what I have in there? It brings me so much. But it also builds up relationships.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that bonding and camaraderie doesn't come in unless you make an effort. Correct. So in stress, these are the points that I have lived it, and I live by that.
Absolutely. I mean, brilliant. I think these are such simple tips. First is take care of yourself. Second is ask for help. And asking for help is something that most of us don't do, right? Because as you rightly pointed out, we start feeling weak. And that's where I believe we lose out on things, right? And the third is unwinding. Taking breaks is so important, right? Thanks for those lovely tips. So moving on, but before I move on, let me see if there are any questions online. No, there aren't. All right. All right. So now the fifth one is one or two instances, from your Dubai airport. While you covered it briefly, but the reason I would want to ask you this again is because I've heard stories of your powerful ability to resolve conflicts, and we would actually want to understand what those challenges were and how you tackled it. So maybe if you could, share one or two instances from Dubai airport which tested your patience and perhaps the steps you took to mitigate those issues. You could maybe talk about the same challenge about the 44 hours.
Okay, no, it's fine. Okay, this is Saudi Arabia. Dubai is a hub, not a problem out here. But I'll tell you, we've got a lot of abuse with whom? With the passengers that are from the third world countries. Okay, you've got Sri Lankan housemates, then you've got painters, unskilled workers from India. You've got a whole lot of migrants who work out in Saudi Arabia. Right. I was called out from my office by one of my staff, and he says, the immigration officer would like to see the captain at the immigration because they've held on to a particular housemate, a Sri Lankan housemate. So I walked up from my office and landed up in there. And then we talked to the Sri Lankan housemate. I asked one of the staff who's a Sri Lankan to talk to her in his native language. She said that she was abused, number one. It's a known fact, and housemaids are being abused tremendously. It's not a big deal. It's known fact in there. Number two is that she just lifted out her little pala that they had done, and she showed welts. The welts were pretty deep. okay, which was in there at that point of time. And so I had the official thing that, well, Lancy, you'll have to take her on the flight. Now, to take her on the flight, it's a major problem. You can't really take this because of the pressure in the aircraft. Anything can happen to this particular person with illness. All I had to say to the captain is, okay, let's resolve this. Fine. The onus lies on the Ministry of Health, right? So we'll call the airport doctor, and if he says she's fit to travel out there, fine. Because if anything happens on the aircraft, I can get back to you and say, like, well, your Ministry of Health gave her the thing, and so it's fine. He said, okay, fine. We had a particular doctor who came in from his clinic. One look at her, and he said, Lancy, forget about it. We're going to see that she disembark her. You can't take her because she's in absolutely bad position. He went back to the captain and said, Lancy is right. I mean, you can't. She cannot travel. She's going to be a huge thing. She's got to be put on glucose. She's got to be put on saline. She can fall off any time right now because of these wells and because of the injuries that was there. That's happened at that point of time. That was a win-win situation, actually, because if not, I would have had to take that in there. But at that point of time, that's what we do. We do damage control, and we have to do a win-win situation. So the captain himself was, because he's got official, he can always go back and say, look, the Ministry of Health said that we cannot take her on board because she is going to be a liability. Right. In these cases, this is what we do. We work on a win-win situation to make certain that we have the safety of the aircraft and the safety of passengers as well. And it all boils down to a gut feeling. At the end of it, we build relationships and we build, in a sense, sentence and say, and tell everybody, let's work towards a common goal. All of us can be absolved of ourselves in case of a crisis. Yes, we've established that these are the territories and we work within it.
Right. Absolutely. And I think that seems to be one of the most powerful tools you've been using, which is looking for a common ground fearlessly to help people solve their issues. Right. All right. Okay, so the next question, I've kind of, I would want to slightly deviate from the topic. So passion, life's purpose, or money, what would you choose and why?
I believe passion is the one operative word. I think it's a derivative word. It's because it's all about what we do rather than just in it for money.
Correct.
All right, because money, of course, does matter out there. But then it also happens that, all of us, when you're passionate, we have an output that is so much more positive that in that instance, we're able to overcome any difficulty that comes within our life with passion. With money, you can't do that necessarily. You can't always buy people out there, and you can't buy everything else and solve a certain problem in there. Fine. The one thing is that passion gets you to do things necessarily to grow and improve. For me, it's a learning experience because I have a passion for public speaking and for what I do. There's a fine dividing line between being interested in public speaking and having a passion for public speaking, let me tell you. So when you go doggedly for it, every day is a learning experience, it's a learning curve, and every day fortifies you. So in that passion, knowledge is knowledge only if it's passed around. So that passion comes in when you start passing on all our skills and techniques to the younger generation, to the older generation, to every generation possible. At the end of it, communication and leadership skills is one of the things that requires people to build up relationships anywhere. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So for me, that's what it is. I believe once you have passion, solving problem comes in much easier. It's an extension of your body to say, I'm going to use everything that I have in my skills and techniques to make it work. Otherwise, I can be half doggedly and say, like, is there a money angle to it? Am I going to get money for it? And if I do, then it's going to be a half-hearted attempt and it's never productive. So I think money and the life purpose is linked directly to passion. And of course, passion overcomes everything.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm glad you said that because that's what I believe too. I believe that, money is a part of your purpose. And if you're passionate about your purpose, money is definitely going to be there. So yeah, it's passion all the way, right? All right. So again, talking of money, the most important, emotions now, a lot of emotions are associated with money, right? Especially fear, guilt, shame, and envy. And as humans, we've lost sleep over money. So, what, according to you, should we do to not lose sleep over money? What are the steps that we can take to not?
Yeah, okay, I'm sure, and I'm sure a lot of people in the room who are listening to this would agree that money itself has no intrinsic value. All right. But of course, it's one of the most valuable things in life. We really need that to get by in life, undoubtedly. It's
Right.
also got its advantages, it's got its disadvantages. So when I weigh the advantages over the disadvantages, I recollect money, for example, advantage would be it's economical. Okay, fine. It's also convenient because you can live a good life and it helps you get by, as I said it earlier. It also brings in a lot of stability uh,
Right.
with security that we have in there.
Correct.
And like air, it's also homogeneous. I mean, it's all available in there. But when I look at the disadvantage, I think, there we start weighing the pros and cons. If I'm obsessed by money,
Mm.
I believe my world stops. Nothing else matters. It's just money. And so when money rules, you're corrupted. You're just self-possessed with it. Okay. Well, yeah, that's what obsession is all about. I do believe that it can bring in a lot of disagreements because if in your personal friendship you could have a rift just over some money issue, and a lifelong friendship can dissolve and crash down. Am I right? In just a few
Absolutely.
seconds.
Absolutely. Yes.
Absolutely. It's been done. I've had this some time back, but I've learned a lesson to that and understand that money, as far as friendship is concerned, matters much more than the money part of it.
Right.
Fine. Also, that money, if I'm going to be invested in it, I could make bad decisions because I could risk my family at it, right? If
Right.
I've got investments into something that goes bad, I'm jeopardizing the entire future of kids, of the rest of the family, right? Just because I'm obsessed with myself and because I need to make money, 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 that's it around them.
Correct.
And as we know, if you've got money in our pockets, it's easy to waste.
Yes. It is.
So for me, but I'll wrap it around. For me, what would I do about money? I learned this about like 8 years ago when I listened to one of the gurus, and I think he made a real powerful statement. He says, the less you think about money, the more you have it in your pocket, and you can get by.
Wow.
And I've lived with that,
Right.
and I'm happy with the loose change I have in my pocket. It works out for me every time and any time.
Correct.
I need that. I put it in there. It's there. It's sufficient enough.
Wow. I loved that statement, and I'll definitely remember that. Right. The less you think about money, the more you have in your wallet. That's such a lovely thought, and I believe that it's all about having that faith in yourself and in the Almighty, that and in your purpose. That's the way to move forward. Excellent. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. Right. So we've spoken about emotions, we've spoken about losing sleep over money, passion, purpose, remaining calm, and we briefly touched upon fear. So what has been your biggest fear in life, and how did you overcome
At a younger age, now I'm getting younger. Okay. But at a young age, as I said, yeah, at a young age, I think at that point of time, you need to knock on wood and really think seriously because you've got a lot of fears. And they are, as they start unfolding out of a Pandora's box, you can imagine the stress and what am I going to do it in there. But I think early in life, the one important thing that I really did, which I look at hindsight, is I tackled the security issue. What's my security issue? What am I going to do as I start aging? Okay. And will I have financial freedom? Today we talk about financial freedom, okay, right? Okay. That's one of the objectives for anybody on this planet, is to get that in there. So the first thing that I did was the fear is that do I have security? How do I build out in it? 37 years ago, when I had an opportunity, the first thing I did was pick up a house. Why? It's got a roof over your head. 80% of your problems are solved once you have a roof over your head. Why? Because not only it gives you security, it also makes you independent And you really don't have to rely on anybody else. And no one can throw and have judgmental on you and say, like, if they do, I'm so sorry, you're not feeding me, you're not feeding my family, so you've got no right to be judgmental on me. I'm looking after myself, to back off. So that you are in a position to do it. Am I right, Aki? You've got that there. Why? Because you've got a house, you've got over your roof over your head, and you've got your own identity. Number two, invest wisely. And that was interesting is because we had a lot of gurus at that point of time who said that, you start investing in it, don't put your eggs in one basket, right? Spread it out in there. So timely, you do that in there with a lot of activities, and of course, with a long-term purpose. What's the long-term purpose? Absolutely. Anybody who's a guru in finance would tell you your financial security is based on your financial freedom. Have it, man, get into it, and then you don't have to listen to anybody else on that particular point of it. Yeah. And the third one, start early.
Yeah.
I started that 37 years ago, and because I've got a house, I've got people who come in here and ask me, how did you do it? Do what? How did you get this in the subs, in the burbs, in the suburbs? And I said, yes, because at that point of time, I took a risk. So the biggest fear also comes with taking risks. And from Aki, one of the subjects and one of the quotes that I've learned in my life, it's not what you've achieved at the end of the day. It is the risk you did not take to achieve more. And I think that's how we offset our fears. I do have fears right now, like anybody else. But every time a fear comes in there, I fear that I'm going to overcome my fear. Wow. So that makes me much more stronger in the bargain.
Right. Yeah, because going back to your quote, which is your fear doesn't know your strength.
Don't trust your fears. They don't know your strengths. And I think I use my strengths all along to get in there. Oh, yes. And every day you still have a fear that comes in there from somewhere else because you've got 1,000 thoughts in your mind. It's how you deal with it is called damage control.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I believe that every emotion comes with a message, right? And it's up to us how to decode that message and overcome that. Right? All right. With that, we come to our final question, and which is one of the most important questions. This live talk, something we've been all looking forward to. So please share your secret recipe behind demonstrating calm and optimism in a crisis. While you've spoken about it, but we would want to kind of sum it up.
Interestingly, Aki, I believe that there isn't a recipe because it's something that we work on ourselves. It's an extension of our life. I believe if there's anything secret recipe in your life, it's just a series of experiments and experiences that you've got in your life that makes you strong. So very quickly, I'll tell you that this incident happened with me, and I'll tell you the reason why I'm giving this is because there is a message in it in there. I had a particular client who walked into my office at the airport, it was in Gulf Air when I was working at Gulf Air at that point of time. And he walked into the office and he lost his baggage. It's Ramadan, the holy month of Ramadan. Everything is quiet at the airport. He walked in there and his name is Ansari. Okay, and he started screaming. His name was Rashid Ansari. Yeah, he started screaming and shouting, "I need my bag! What the hell is this? What a lousy airline!" Everything here possible under that. He had the privilege, of course, and I kept quiet about it at that point of time. I had calls from the British Airways office, from the Air India office at the site. They called me up and said, "Lancy, you need any help?" We can hear him shouting and screaming. I said, no worry. Damage control, everything is quiet there. Now, this happened is that there was, after ranting and shouting and screaming for about 15, 20 minutes, it happened to be his break time. He wanted to go and say his prayers. During that time, I saw his passport on my desk. It's an Indian passport. Very casually, I flipped it out because obviously I've got to pay him compensation for that. So I wanted to check his address and things like this way. And I happened to look. He happened to be from Bandra. I'm from Bandra. He's from Bandra. When he came back, he sat down in there and I said, Rashid sahab, aap Bandra ke hain? He said, kaise? नहीं, आपका passport था तो मैंने देख लिया था ना, उस passport पे लिखा हुआ है और compensation देना है. He started mellowing down. And then we started, and I said, हाँ, मैं तो Hill Road पे रहता हूँ. He said, yes, I'm staying in there. We got in there, okay? So that's one of the things is you respect people, you listen to them and you respect them, okay? It's called listening skills. people in Toastmasters, we've learned of listening skills. Why? In listening skills, what happens is that whatever you talk, you already know. But when you're listening, you're understanding what the person wants, compensation, and what else he wants is in there. Now, this is what happened. He asked me, he says, can I ask you something, D'Souza Saab? I said, हाँ, बताइए क्या? What's the problem? He said, मैं इतना चिल्ला रहा हूँ. Sara Shehar, Sara airport is listening to it and they can hear you. I hear me shouting in there. But you're so quiet. You're not talking. You're not telling anything. I said, if you and me shout, is there a solution? We'll just be shouting at one another. The whole airport will hear whatever we're talking in it. Will it solve your problem? I have to solve your problem. And you were not letting me for almost 15, 20 minutes to talk in there. But that's my listening skills in there. So he said, so what's the thing behind it? I said, okay, here's my thing. It's called response and react. In every situation, there is response and react. When I respond, I'm in control of the situation, Rashid Bhai. I'm in control because I'm not shouting. I have my strength. You're losing it. You're losing your marbles. And you are also trying to think that because by shouting, you're stronger than me. It doesn't work that way. So if I had to react exactly like you, and you were shouting and I'm shouting, then I'm as good as you. Both of us. So what's the difference between you and me shouting? But in response, I'm in control all the time, most of the time.
Correct.
And so he said, yeah, this is something that I've learned. I never knew this. Next time, I will not shout.
Right. Excellent. Right. Wow. And I think that's the beauty, right? I mean, we all need to be in control of our thoughts and focus on what is it that we can control. And just do our work, right? I mean, had I been in your situation, like, I mean, of course, coming from a customer experience background, I have been in situations where clients have, kind of yelled at me and my team. And while I had to handle the fort there, I was actually getting scared. So yeah, I think that is those were some useful tips. And with that, we come to the end of our live talk, and I'm pretty sure people have definitely found it useful, Nancy. So to sum it up, what we all need to do to remain calm under pressure is obviously focus, being selfless. Just focus on helping others, loving yourself, yes, but also focus on helping others. Taking care of yourself is important. Then asking for help, again, that's the most important thing that you all need to do. Unwinding, taking a break, even if it means taking a break of an hour or two, just do that. Decoding your emotions, taking the risk, right? Taking the risk and overcoming your fears, overcoming your stress. Respect yourself, of course, but respect the other person, and listen with an intent to act, right? And finally, be in control. Yeah, thanks, Lancy. If there's anything else, feel free to add to it. I'm sure people who were watching us live and the ones who will watch this video once I put it up on YouTube, will definitely find this useful. Thank you very much. Have a great day ahead. Great evening. Yes.
Good luck, good cheer, and good evening.
Thank you very much.